Vande Girim. Yat Kripa Tam Aham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarina Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Deva. Narayanam Namaskarte Naram Chaiva Naram Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Putri. Yeah, Hare Krishna. We'll talk about Srimad Bhagavatam now, but I still want to say something about the holy name. After that, holy name is everything. Harinama Eva Kevalam. After that song was sung, it just feels like Harinam is actually everything. Because in the Harinam is there Bhagavat Tattva. In the Harinam is there Guru Tattva. In the Harinam is there Jiva Tattva. And in the Harinam is there Gaura Tattva too. Everything is there. And material energy is also eternal, but it is just in the form of Pradhan. So in the Harinam, material energy is very conspicuous by its absence. So the beauty of Harinam, it is everything is there. Everything is Harinam. In one word of Hari Krishna, the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is present in one word of Krishna. And in one word of Krishna, the whole Dham is present. And in one word of Krishna, Bhagavat Tattva, the whole Guru Tattva is also present. Because without Guru Tattva, there is no access to Bhagavat Tattva. And in one word of Krishna, the whole Rupa, Guna, Leela, and Preeti for Bhagavan is present. And this is why Srila Rupa Goswami, just uttering one word Krishna, he felt unconscious because he couldn't just take that ecstasy. Because everything is just present in that Shuddhanama, one word of Krishna. The whole Srimad Bhagavatam in one word of Shuddhanama. Just wanted to mention that. Yes, now we want to go to Srimad Bhagavatam. And sorry, I forgot to post a reminder in Harinam Seva. If anyone of you can please just mention that English Bhagavat Pravahamu has started. I forgot to mention that there, please. Thank you.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah. And now I think we can start Srimad Bhagavatam. Do the recording, and we could mute, and also we could take off the video during the recording, and then we could come back again after the recording for the discussion, unmute and videos.
Okay, Mataji.
Yes, but thank you, Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So, Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, welcome back to Bhagavata Pravaham. This is in English. So far, we have discussed Srimad Bhagavatam introduction, and then the specialty of Srimad Bhagavatam. After that, whole Srimad Bhagavatam summary in 1 hour, and after that we spoke about the first canto, right? So what I will do is I will again say what's there in the first canto and what we have covered so far, and then we'll come to today's topic today. Okay, so in the first canto there are 4 topics to remember. The first one is the 6 questions of Naimisharanya sages, and the second one is about Srimad Bhagavatam Avirbhava, That is the appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam or Narada Vyasa Samvada. The third one is Stutis. Stuti of Uttara, Kunti, Bhishma, and Dwarakavasis. Fourth one is about Parikshit Maharaj. These are the four things in the first canto. Yeah. So in these four, we have already discussed the first topic. That's Srimad Bhagavatam, 6 cantos of 6 questions of Naimisharanya sages. In that, first 3 chapters are covered. The first chapter gives 3 verses, the first 3 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then 6 questions of Naimisharanya sages. The other 2 chapters, second and third, they give the answers to the 2 questions, the 6 questions of Naimisharanya sages. And so what are those 6 questions and their answers? The first question is, what is the ultimate good for all? Second one is, what is the essence of Vedic scriptures? Answer for these 2 questions is Bhakti Yoga. Okay. And third question, why did Lord appear as the son of Mother Devaki? That is to rescue the souls that are in goodness. Okay. And fourth question is about Purushavataras. That is Karnodakasai Vishnu, Garbhodakasai Vishnu, and Kshirodakasai Vishnu. After that, fifth question is, what are Leelavataras? They are multiple, infinite, like the waves in the ocean. But about 22 avatars were described a little more in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. And after explaining all those avatars, Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. For all these avatars, the source is Lord Krishna himself. Okay. And the last question is, where did Dharma take its shelter after Lord Krishna went back to his Adhyatmika Dhama, spiritual abode? Answer is Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma took shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is representing Lord Krishna in this Kali Yuga. So the people in Kali Yuga can take the shelter, instructions, and guidance from Srimad Bhagavatam, who is none other than Krishna. And then they can purify their lives and go back to the spiritual realm. So in that way, for Kali Yuga people, Srimad Bhagavatam is the shelter. And for all the Kali Yuga people who want to do the dharma of this Kali Yuga, they take the guidance from Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are the 6 questions that are answered in the first chapter and 6 answers that are given in the second and third chapter. That's all discussed. And now, after this, what happens is, Shaunaka Rishi, he says, after hearing the 6 answers, this is so wonderful, Suta Goswami. You're such a learned person. And you are capable of answering all these questions so nicely. All these 6 answers are so wonderful. We have 3 more questions. Yeah. And would you please kindly answer those 3 questions too? Our first question is, how did the Srimad Bhagavatam appear? How come? What made Srila Vyasadeva, who wrote this Bhagavatam, what made Srila Vyasadeva write this one? Where did his inspiration come from? Where did Srimad Bhagavatam appear? What made Vyasadeva inspired to write the Srimad Bhagavatam? Yeah. So these questions about Vyasadeva, that's the first question, pertinent to Vyasadeva, of what his inspiration is, what made him write Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. So in that first question, automatically, inspiration for Vyasadeva is from Narada Muni. So Narada Muni and Vyasadeva's conversation, Narada Vyasa Samvada comes there. And then after that, what happens after Narada Muni instructs Vyasadeva? All that is present in that first question. Okay. So that first question, the content of that first question, the answer for that question is present in this 4th, 5th, and 6th chapters of Bhagavata, which is Narada Vyasa Samvada. Right? So that takes care of the first topic in the Narada Vyasa Samvada. So 4th, 5th, and 6th chapters are Narada Vyasa Samvada. Okay? But please note, in these questions, this is the answer only to the first question of that is Narada Vyasa Samvada. The second question of Shaunak Rishi is, okay, Bhagavatam has made its appearance. Wonderful. How did Parikshit Maharaj get to hear this? We heard that Parikshit Maharaj was so opulent, so strong, and he had so much worldly possessions. How come he ended up renunciating all that and wanted to hear Bhagavatam? So can you tell us more about Parikshit also, Maharaj Parikshit also? About his birth, about his ruling, and how did he end up meeting Sukadev Goswami? Can you tell about that too? So those were the other two questions about Parikshit Maharaj and about Sukadev Goswami. So these three are the questions of Shaunuk Rishi, followed by the 6 questions in the very beginning. Okay. So the answer for the first question about how did the Srimad Bhagavatam come into place? How did it appear? Answer for that is present in 4th, 5th, and 6th chapter. Right? For the second question, can you tell something about Parikshit Maharaj? The answer for that starts from 7th chapter. How Ashwadhama releases Brahmastra, and then Uttara comes to Lord Krishna, and Kunti Devi Stuti in the 8th chapter, then Bhishma Stuti in the 9th chapter, and then how Lord leaves from Hastinapura to Dwaraka, and there Dwarkavasis do the Stuti, right? And after that, Kali enters Parikshit's rule, and then Parikshit Maharaj, he gets cursed. All those chapters, starting from the 7th chapter up until almost the end of the first canto, is all about Parikshit Maharaj. And all that is in response to the second question of this chapter by Shaunak Rishi. And at the very end, Suta Goswami, when he made his appearance to Hastinapura to deliver Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, that will be the last chapter in the first canto. So this is how the whole first canto is linked with each other. This is how the flow goes in the whole first canto. First, second, and third are about the 6 questions. 4th, 5th, and 6th is about Srimad Bhagavatam appearance, which means Narada Vyasa Samvada. From 7th question on is about Parikshit. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, until almost the very end. And at the very end, so about Sukadev Goswami. So those are the contents of the first canto and how they are linked up with each other, and how this particular chapter, 4th chapter, is an opening chapter in terms of the questions, putting the questions so the answers can come out to the rest of the chapters in the first canto. Right? So that's about the first canto and its chapters and the flow. Now coming to Narada Vyasa Samvada. In this Narada Vyasa Samvada, as we just discussed, 4th, 5th, and 6th chapters, there are 3 things that are happening. First thing that is happening is Vyasadeva, he starts to do the deliberation. He starts to think, ponder, think deeply, introspection, deep introspection, like we try to do right? Sometimes, मैं तो भक्ति कर रही हूँ. I'm doing bhakti. What kind of bhakti am I doing? Is it heading the right way? Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Is there something different that I need to do? I said. So that introspection, even Vyasadeva was also doing that. So the first part of this Narada Vyasa Samvada is Vyasadeva's introspection. Second part is Sri Narada coming to Vyasadeva. And in this second part, Narada gives instructions to Vyasadeva, and immediately he also tells about his previous birth, glorifying how potent bhakti is, how wonderfully it can transform a person within one life, changing from material body to spiritual body, how one can get a spiritual body in one life just by following the process of bhakti yoga. That he says in the second part during the conversation with Vyasadeva. Okay, and the third part is after Narada instructs Vyasadeva and leaves, Vyasadeva goes into meditation, and then he starts writing Bhagavata based on what he sees in the meditation. That's the third part. So this Narada Vyasa Samvada has three parts. First part is Vyasa's introspection. Second part is the actual discussion between Narada and Vyasa. Third part is Vyasa's meditation, and then recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so these three parts. In these three parts, we will do the first part today, which is the fourth chapter. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen of the first part here, the fourth chapter. Yeah, let me share the screen, and as I show it to you, I can do this again. I think I'm work in progress. I'll have to desktop. Krishna, I have to go to my desktop now. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto. This is already open. 4th canto. All right, I'm going to share that with you. Fourth canto. Okay, so that's 4th canto. I'm going to zoom it a little bit so you can. Yeah. So here, again, we are in Naimisharanya now, sitting here, and our head here is Shaunak Rishi. He's asking questions to Sutta Goswami on our behalf. Okay. So all those 6 answers for the 6 questions were given, and now Shaunak Rishi is saying, "This is awesome, Sutta Goswami. Thank you so much. You are Mahabhaga. You are Kulapati." So he gives some words of praise to Sutta Goswami. This is one of the etiquettes we need. We have to learn from Srimad Bhagavatam. So based on the speaker's qualification, the audience offer suitable words of praise when they ask the questions and when they get the answers. This is what Shaunak Rishi is doing now. After getting the 6 answers from Sutta Goswami, he says, "This is so wonderful. Thank you. You are Mahabhaga. You are Vadatambara, Kulapati." And after offering those words of praise and gratitude, he says, "I have 3 more questions." And as I just mentioned, those 3 questions were put forward. Yeah, about how did Bhagavatam appear, and something about Parikshit Maharaj, please, and something about Sukadeva Goswami, please. So those 3 questions are asked. Okay. And so this is Shaunaka Rishi standing here, elderly Muni, asking questions to Suta Goswami. Now, this is the start of the first section, that is Vyasa's deliberation, pondering, introspection. So here, even before this, I would like to bring this to your attention. This is not very much detailed in these slides, but there are beautiful points here. In the first question, there is request about Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, and how Srimad Bhagavatam appeared. In the second question, about Parikshit Maharaj. The third question is about Sukadeva Goswami. Here we have to say something. Sukadeva Goswami, the qualities of Sukadeva Goswami here, and how did Hastinapura citizens recognize, and how did Parikshit Maharaj meet Sukadeva Goswami. So the points we want to note here is Sukadeva Goswami was not an ordinary Muni. He did not want to come out of the womb because he didn't want to get in touch with Maya. And soon after he came out of the womb, after he received assurance from Bhagavan Krishna that he would be untouched by Maya, there was no purificatory process done, no yajna, the Brahman thread given, nothing. Just walks out of the house, totally detached. And then when he goes, as he goes through the forest, Sukadeva Goswami was so totally detached on Brahmabhuta platform, totally detached from the bodily platform. He didn't care to wear any clothes. Avadhuta, who is beyond the custom, social customs and bodily platform, was an Avadhuta, Mahabhagavata. He was on that platform. So he was passing by, and there was a pond where the heavenly damsels, they were bathing there. And they were naked too. But even when they saw Sukadeva Goswami, the Avadhuta, naked, walking by, totally unaware of this material world, just totally absorbed in his internal absorption, Brahmabhuta, Prasannatma. These damsels, they didn't care to cover themselves. That potent was Sukadeva Goswami's purity, the Brahmabhuta platform, that these heavenly damsels, who are generally after sense gratification, they themselves did not care. They could see how potent Sukadeva Goswami is beyond the bodily platform, so they did not feel any obligation. Naturally, they were lifted too beyond the bodily platform, that they didn't care to cover themselves. That was the potency of Sukadeva Goswami. And of course, when Vyasadeva was running behind his son in search of him, when he came by after some time, quickly all these damsels covered themselves. And there were reasons why, because Vyasadeva is belonging to Varnashrama Dharma, he's a Grihastha, like that. But the point is how detached and Avadhuta was Sukadeva Goswami, that he didn't care. He is totally oblivious of anything material outside. That's one point. Second point was, he used to go door to door to the people's house and stay there just for that amount of time where they can milk the cows. And so the Grihasthas can give a little milk to Sukadeva Goswami. Why was he doing that? Does he really need this little milk from these Grihasthas to survive and maintain his life? Not really. Then why was he doing that? Out of kripa, mercy to those Grihasthas. He didn't go beg for his sake. He was given an opportunity. So all these Grihasthas who are entangled in this material world, they get an opportunity to meet a sadhu, lavamatra sadhu sangha. And with those vibrations coming from the sadhu, transcendental vibration, then those Grihasthas get purified. That was the reason why Sukadeva Goswami was doing the Madhukari, get them, begging milk from Grihastha's houses. So here, for us to know, when all these devotees, all these Sharanagata Bhaktas, all the devotees who are in this, preaching, the prachar, who are broadcasting the glories of Lord Krishna when they travel from place to place. And when we have an opportunity to serve them, it's like they are giving us an opportunity. So we can come out of our entanglement and we can feel the Krishna that they are carrying in their heart. So that is our privilege to serve a sadhu, a Sharanagata Bhakta, carrying Krishna in his heart, spreading, broadcasting the glories of Krishna. That is what we want to remember. Each time we get an opportunity to serve a sadhu, that is our privilege. As in this case of Sukadeva Goswami, right? So that's one thing we want to remember. And one more thing is, now that we have seen how much of an Avaduta Sukadeva Goswami is, and how much of Karuna he has, that he is giving association in the name of begging to the Grihasthas. This is how detached he is with the people around. Then why in the world did he care to come to Hastinapura to meet Parikshit and sit for 7 days to speak Bhagavatam? He wouldn't wait more than a minute until it takes time to milk a cow at a Grihastha place. But here, with Parikshit Maharaj, he decided to sit for 7 days. How come? Why did that happen? So that was also part of the discussion there. And there, the point that surfaces and needs to be emphasized is Parikshit Maharaj was totally in the mood of Sharanagati. He was like, I am leaving everything behind. I have only 7 days to go, and the purpose of my life needs to be fulfilled. I'm all up for it. Whatever it may be, I am doing it. So that is the total surrenderance. When that mood of total surrenderance is invoked within us, any jiva, that's when significant changes happen in their life. Turning points happen in their life. Paramatma sitting in our heart knows if we are hesitant, if we are just trying a little bit, or showing him trying a little bit, or if we're really trying, and if we are like, it's up to you, Krishna, you please take over. So all these things, this thermometer that is there within us inside is very much sensed by Paramatma. And according to that, he makes the arrangements outside. So he sensed that in Parikshit Maharaj. And he wanted to send the best speaker who is totally detached from this world and who can give him the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why he inspired Sri Sukadeva Goswami to come to Hastinapura on his own accord. Nobody really gave him an invitation. Nobody said, oh, Parikshit Maharaj is sitting there and he's looking for an enlightened soul to give the answers for his questions. Nobody gave that invitation or information to Sukadeva Goswami. Of course, those realized souls, they know what's happening around, especially about the Sharanagata Bhaktas. So, on his own accord, he just came to Hastinapura to be with Parikshit Maharaj. That's one point we want to make note of. Yeah. So far, we had 3 points. One is in the very beginning, how Shaunaka Rishi is offering reasonable praise words to the speaker of Bhagavata Katha, expressing gratitude for answering the questions. And second point is, so far we have seen that when there is an opportunity for us to serve the sadhus, then it is our privilege that Krishna, Govinda, that they are carrying in their heart is with us, and we are serving them. Okay, so we want to look at that as our privilege. And the third point is this: based on how much yearning that we have from within, Paramatma knows from within, and he makes the arrangements accordingly outside. So we are 100% taken care of. There is no flaw in the arrangement of Lord Krishna sitting inside us, Paramatma. And we don't have to be doubtful, and we don't have to be feeling lonely, and we don't have to be feeling like, are you really watching me, Krishna? Are you there for me? All these, beyond all these doubts, these examples are making it clear that we will get the help that we need based on how much yearning that we have from within. Okay. So those are the words that I wanted to messages for us to take home. And now entering into the Katha of Sri Vyasa's deliberation. So Vyasadeva was sitting in Badrikashrama besides river Saraswati. And he was thinking, first of all, something about Vyasadeva. We'll talk something about Vyasadeva now. Vyasadeva, when he was meditating, meditating besides Saraswati River, he saw all the disqualifications of Kali Yuga Jivas. He could see that. And, in the very first chapter, Prayena Alpayusha Satya, Kalavasmin Yuge Janaha, Mandaha Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagyadi Upadrataha. Right? So that was there. There, Alpayusha, short-lived. And Manda, lazy. Sumanda, misguided. Manda Bhagya, unlucky. Lazy spiritually. Even if they are a little bit interested spiritually, they are misguided, even spirituality also. Right? With the topics of saying that you are God, God is you, everybody is God, that's a misguidance. Where is the scope for the soul to establish his loving relationship with Paramatma, with Krishna? It's not there. That's why that is misguidance, that kind of philosophy. So Manda Bhagya, Manda, Sumanda, Manda Bhagya. They are Manda Bhagya. The Bhagya is fortune. Manda is little, very little, less fortunate. And Upadrutaha, always disturbed. These are the qualifications. On top of that, Shakti Hrashan, bodily strength is low. And Ashraddha Dhanam, they are faithless. And Nishsatwan, very impatient because they lack goodness. They predominantly have ignorance and passion. Yeah. And Durbhagan, unlucky. So these are the qualities of Kali Yuga Jiva. He was thinking, so with these qualities, how can they take the essence of Vedas? I have to do some good for them. What do I do? So in that compassionate mode, he divides the original Veda into 4 Vedas. When we say original Veda, what happened is Lord Brahma, when his Avirbhava, when he appears from the navel of Garbhodak Sai Vishnu, it is pitch dark. It was pitch dark. Then he looks around in 4 directions to see what is there, who is he, like that. That's how he gets 4 heads. And when he hears this word tapa, he does the austerities. Tapa is austerities. And after the tapa is done, as a result of the austerities, he will be enlightened. And after enlightenment, all that realizations he had, enlightenment he he deciphers it out as Veda. Veda means knowledge. So all the realizations he had after tapas, he voices out, speaks out as Veda. Because he has 4 heads, the 4 kind of Vedas are coming, but all of them are jumbled up. Like the blue stones, the precious stones, like 4 different kinds of precious stones are coming from 4 different mounts. One blue color, one red color, one purple, whatever colors, the 4 colors, but they're all mixed up. So everything is coming out as one stream, mixed up stream, like 4 beautiful fabrics mixed up as one big thread and coming out as one Veda. So this particular one mixed up Veda is divided. Those 4 beautiful fabrics are divided back again as 4 Vedas by Veda Vyasa. Veda, Vyasa is to divide. One who does the division of Veda is called Veda Vyasa. That's a post. And Krishna Dvaipayana is the Muni for our Kali Yuga. He was the Muni. He was our Veda Vyasa. So he divided the Vedas back again into the 4 and then categorized them. Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda. And he was so compassionate, not only that he divided this, we are talking about how compassionate Veda Vyasa is. That's what we're talking about. And the next topic would be, despite of being this compassionate, what is it that is happening in his heart? We'll come to that. But right now, how compassionate is Vyasa? He has thought about the Kali Yuga people, not just for himself, but for the people to come. And he wanted to give this message that can rescue them. And that's why he wanted to give this transcendental knowledge to the Kali Yuga people. And that's why he divided that single Veda to 4 Vedas. And then he realized even this beautiful 4 fabrics, the Vedas, even this cannot be understood by the Kali Yuga Jivas, right? And that's why he wrote Vedanta Sutra. But here, coming to these 4 Vedas, after dividing the Veda into 4, each Veda is assigned to a particular Rishi. So he can master it, PhD it, and he can have his own students, own school on that particular Veda, and come up with detailed analysis of that Veda, and come with Upavedas in that Veda, and then broadcast the information about that particular Veda. For that to happen, he chose 4 people for 4 Vedas. For Rig Veda, he chose Paila Muni. For Samaveda, he chose Jaimini. And for Yajurveda, he chose Vaishampayana Rishi. And for Atharva Veda, he chose Angira Muni. After these 4 fabrics, 4 Vedas are given out, then there are bits and pieces that are left over. This is all from Veda only, but those bits and pieces of information with historical information, all that is placed as 5th Veda. This 5th Veda is about Itihasas and Puranas. So Mahabharata and Ramayana, these are the 2 Itihasas, and the Puranas. These 3 things, they fall in as 5th Veda. So he has done this all for our sake, for the people of Kali Yuga. And especially these Itihasas and Puranas, for those people who does not have a taste or capacity to understand metaphysical science, the complexity, etc., the dry philosophy, who don't have the taste or inclination for it. For them, this 5th Veda Itihasas and Puranas are given. So he has thought about everybody. And these 5 are given. Okay? So that's his compassion of Vyasadeva. And not only he was so compassionate, and it is clear, his scholarliness cannot be limited to words. He's the literary incarnation. And so he's a jnani, and he's compassionate. And not only that, he was very austere. Very austere. He worshipped the Vedas, the altar, the sacrifice, the yajna sacrifice that they do. So he had utmost austerity, utmost compassion, and utmost knowledge. In spite of all this, he was feeling empty in his heart. He was thinking, I wasn't so selfish. I have been selfless. I was compassionate. Generally, when we do the service to people, then that should give joy to our heart. And I have done my service. I have done my service to this Kali Yuga people by presenting all this, including for those who don't have much interest in Vedas. I gave them the 5th Veda, Itihasas and Puranas. So I did not leave behind these women, worldly women, who are engrossed in the bodily platform, or Shudras who have no inclination for jnana. Including them, I have given everything that they need for their spiritual benefit. So I was compassionate, I was selfless, and I was austere, and I was devotional. In the sense, I was worshipping the Vedas, my altar, my sacrifice, everything. Why is it that I still feel what I feel inside? I just don't feel happy inside. And there's a Sanskrit word there which almost says that he was depressed. Imagine somebody like Vyasadeva with those qualifications, with that quantity of compassion, and he was Trikaladrik. He could foresee the future too. With all these qualifications, in spite of doing all this, he was still dissatisfied inside. And he was thinking, why am I like this? Why do I feel like this? And then he thinks, is it because I did not give a proper place to bhakti that it deserves? Because devotion is something very dear to Bhagavan and Bhakta. Is that the reason why I feel like this? The lacking in my heart? He just starts thinking like that. As he just starts thinking, Narada Muni comes there. Okay? This is what happens. Narada Muni is dead. Just that when his thought comes, not just when he was despondent, but he was like, is this the reason? And that's when Narada comes. So there is a significance there too. Before going there, we want to see about the despondency of Vyasadeva. For somebody like Vyasadeva, if he was feeling despondent, what about the philanthropists of Kali Yuga? Say, okay, even if they are, not just saying, even if they're so big-hearted and compassionate, they are no way close to what Vyasadeva in any of the qualifications. So how in the world that they can be Ayatma Suprasidati? How can they be completely satisfied in the heart? In other words, just by doing some service to people, a bodily service at a physical level, service at a mental level, just by doing some service, yes, service brings happiness, no doubt about it. And again, selflessness and service is a quality of mode of goodness. It is not doesn't even have to belong to the mode of transcendence. It's simply a quality of goodness. That's why even so many Gnostic people, they don't necessarily have to believe in God. There are many pious souls, great souls, who are very selfless, and they are not after fame, and they just want to serve in whatever capacity they can to the humanity. That is awesome, wonderful, but still, that's a wonderful quality in the mode of goodness only, haven't transcended the goodness. And again, if somebody is displaying those wonderful quality in goodness, in material world, there is no Shuddha Sattva, there is no 100% goodness. Even though that soul is very noble, with so much of goodness in them, still there has to be some mode of ignorance and passion also, because that is how this material world is built. There is no 100% Sattva. Only mixed goodness is there. In the sense, goodness may be a lot of it, but still there is some ignorance and passion. They still think that there is that they are in this body, or their knowledge is complete, not complete. So that's the point that we want to make a note of. Though somebody is very good-hearted, selfless, serving, non-envious, all those are wonderful qualities of goodness, but still there will not be Yayatma Suprasidati, because Yayatma Suprasidati happens only when we bring transcendence in the picture, only when we acknowledge Bhagavan. So that's why Vyasadeva was feeling the way he was feeling. He did not acknowledge Bhagavan enough. He was just glorifying Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. How wonderful, how one should do the Dharma so they can earn some living, get some wealth, and with that wealth they can satisfy their senses and the material desires. And when they have did enough in this world, then of course they can try for liberation, get detached from this material world. This is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Where was the glorification of Bhagavan? It didn't happen. And that's why Vyasadeva was feeling despondent, incomplete inside. And in day-to-day world too, yes, there are many great souls, they may be doing service, but na shobhate jnanam alam niranjanam, the knowledge or any service without having Bhagavan as center is not going to give complete satisfaction to the heart, to the soul. That's the take-home point for us from this here. And regarding this, what happens when Narada Muni came, we will discuss that in the next class. We'll open the chapter then. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly summarize what we have discussed today and then take any questions or discussions after that. So today we opened the discussion and we gave the overview of first canto again. First canto, 6 questions is the first topic. Second one is Narada Vyasa Samvada. Third one is Uttara, Kunti, Bhishma, Dwaraka Vasastuti. Fourth one is about Parikshit. In those 4 topics, the first one, the 6 questions of Naimisharanya sages was already covered, which was in first, second, and third chapter. Today, we discussed about Narada Vyasa Samvada. This will be in 4th, 5th, and 6th chapter. And in this, there are 3 divisions. What happened to Vyasadeva? Introspection of Vyasadeva. Then Narada and Vyasa discussion. That will be the second topic, which we will go in the next week. And the third one is what Vyasa does, Vyasa's meditation after Narada Muni leaves. These are the 3 topics in Narada Vyasa Samvada. Okay, so in that, so we have discussed the 4th chapter, the first topic of Vyasadeva's contemplation, introspection. And in that, we talked about the etiquette of the audience to acknowledge our Bhagavata Katha speakers reasonable to their qualification. That's what Shaunaka Rishi was doing to Suta Goswami. That's one point. Second, Suta Goswami, Sukadeva Goswami, how much of an avaduta he was. He was on a Brahmabhuta platform, and he was not, he was standing only for a short while in front of Grahastha's home to get the milk. So that detached he was, but he came to Parikshit Maharaj to stay with him for 7 days to speak Bhagavata Katha. Why did that happen? It's because Parikshit Maharaj was so much yearning in his heart. Krishna, Paramatma sitting inside, had made the arrangements outside. We will soon see something very similar in the next chapter also. That's regarding the Sukadeva Goswami. And then coming to Vyasa, we have seen how compassionate he was, how austere he was, and how much of a jnani he was that he could compile all this, divide the Vedas and compile the Vedanta Sutra. In spite of all these qualifications, he was feeling despondent inside. It is because he did not glorify Bhagavan and Bhakti. And we are all Jivas. Jiva is part of Bhagavan. Bhagavan is Sachidananda Swarupa. So if there is not proper place given to that Sachidananda Swarupa and to Bhakti, then it is natural that Jiva feels despondent. On that note, we discussed that even though somebody is really glorious in terms of being selfless, non-envious, and serving, still they are all qualities in the mode of goodness only. And the soul is not going to be completely happy, and the soul cannot get to the transcendental realm because they're still filled with only the qualities of goodness, majority. And they will be having some of ignorance and passion also. So the only quality that can get us beyond these modes is bhakti. And the only quality that can give complete satisfaction to the heart, to the soul, is bhakti. Without bhakti, goodness is incomplete and can be just trapped to this world. So that's the significance of bhakti. I'm going to stop sharing it and